Yo, this is Pagabens and time have come. The lion can tell them one story. This is the Lion's Voice. Stay tuned.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice. Yeah. Well, Haile Selassie the first, the Almighty, and he was crowned with Empress Menen. And you see there come a time in every relationship in it brand new and your heart is full of doubt. And you try investigate to check things out. And sometimes you see if you follow word of mouth, you end up take the wrong route. Well, it's a mystery, what a mystery, and I can't see. But will she diss me? Will she trick me? Or is it just me? But it's a mystery, what a mystery, and I can't see. But will she diss me? Or will she be the wife and mother of my baby? Sometimes I feel like she's holding back. Something inside says it don't react. Sometimes I hear how the people chat. Most of the time we ignore all of that. The way she read books made my soul relax. Love how she look and she proud to be black. Me love how she cook and how she state the fact. She said the wicked of it melt like wax. Well, it's a mystery, what a mystery, and I can't see. Well, will she diss me? Will she trick me? Or is it just me? Then, well, it's a mystery. Well, front to us a son was born and a child was given.
I want to ask you a question. Have you got me a book? Haile Selassie's Ethiopia Volume 1, The Rise of the Priest Warrior King. I've read the book in its entirety, and I must say it's very inspirational, very informative, and very historical, right?
Them call him Rastafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Them call him Rastafari. When he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Rastafari. Lion break the chain, beat not, don't cry. Them call him Rastafari. Read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration from Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England. Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chasmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm a creative industry attorney, I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now, I am the host of the Lion Voice. Welcome to Lion Talk Live and welcome to the Lion Voice Network. This is our premier platform where we talk to frontline workers in the Rastafari and the Pan-African community. We have a powerful show. We're going to be touching mental health. You know, people call it crazy, people call it sick, head no good, all kind of thing. We're going to get into mental health. We're going to get into physical health. I'm a Gideon. Are you taking care of the I themselves? We have someone who is going to share with us jewels, wisdom. But before we get into the program for this evening, I want to just big up the Lion Pride. If you subscribe to the channel, you're part of the Lion Pride. Please, if you have not subscribed, subscribe. We're building a movement here. We're building a community. We're building a tribe. So big up all of the Lion Pride family, all of the subscribers. We're at 2,098. We want to hit 2,100 tonight. So if you're not part of the Lion Pride, join us because we're just getting stronger. Big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. We have 10 fire angels in the Patreon right now. We had 2 for over a year, family. Consistency beats perfection. I tell all the content creators, faith, works, courage, a just cause, and it will build once you stay consistent, once you stay passionate about your creative art. And I come to live it. Big up a Lion Pride on Patreon. I want to big up Sian, young lion from out of the UK. The I know why I'm bigging up the eye, because the eye persistence, the eye might, you know. It's very full encouraging. We see the eye. I just want the eye, acknowledge the eye as a Lion Pride on Patreon. Big up yourself, Sian. All of the Lion Pride on Patreon. Empress Jeannie, big up yourself. Dr. Welete, the Lalabella Institute. Fight Babylon made a request. Him saying love one of the songs. Then we put it in the Patreon, the entire song. So if you want to hear the full songs from the Chaz March Kwasi, we're loading them in the Patreon. So anyone who wants to support, you can become a member as low as $5 a month. Support Rastafari Media. We have a vision family. This is just the beginning. I have to also big up I Never Knew TV. We have a groundbreaking collaboration. If those go to I Never Knew TV, we have an interview with Priest Fagan. That's up on the channel right now. The first clip gone over 10,000 views. Second clip gone past 5,000 views that dropped yesterday. So, you know, we're doing some numbers over there. We give thanks. The biggest video on this channel is only 2,700. And I track the numbers, family, because as a content creator, we want to see progress. We want to mark our achievements, and we want to, again, stay consistent, because that's part of the mental health aspect. I'm here to help to cultivate the Rastafari man who's going to come and lead the prosperous Rastafari future. That is Iman's mission in this time. So today, topic, we are going to welcome someone who is going to help us with a critical area. Anyone who's in the Pan-African battlefield, anybody who is for the liberation of their people, have to deal with mental health. We cannot ignore mental health. We have to learn from our elders. We're in stressful times. You know, we're dealing with economic stress. We're dealing with health challenges. We want to talk about a holistic approach. Rastafari is known for Ital living, known for the healing of the nation, the ganja, known for all of these things, but yet still we're seeing a lot of elders who have negative health impacts. We have couple big belly Rastafari brethren. I had to burn a brethren in Jamaica one day, one of my bona fide brethren, me see him a forward with a belly. And he gave thanks because him say, you know, even his son tell him that too, and it made him want to tighten up. And we have to be that for each other. You know, this is not a friend and company chad. So if you're chadding out there and you know say your belly big, you know, it's a fire. Not to judge the eye and condemn the eye, and we're not in that. But we are just letting you know, tighten up the thing right now, family. So we're gonna welcome one of the brethren who is blazing a trail on social media. His IG page, Rastafari Liberty, over 18,000 souls he has that are consuming his content, positive affirmations, you know, itrates of His Majesty, just Rastafari vibration. The brethren is really highlighting Rastafari Liberty. The brethren is a certified yoga instructor. He's a counselor. Brethren is also dealing with mental and physical wellness and movement. So he doesn't just deal with yoga, he deals with prayer in motion using the Asian yoga. And we're going to talk about yoga. Yes, it's from India, but we know in Kemet, them used to practice yoga same way. So we see it in the hieroglyphs. We're going to go deep, family. Welcome. Help I to welcome. I'm in the chat. Show some love. Help I to welcome Ras Semaj. Welcome, family. Perfect love and strength. Perfect love and strength. How is the eye?
I'm grateful and thankful to be a part of the Lion's Voice, you know. Especially with our
Yes.
honorable Eye like the eye self. I give thanks for the works that I is bringing out there.
Something going on with your volume there. Some feedback or something.
Is it low? You can hear me now?
Talk again now.
I bless it. I can hear.
Yes, but it sounds like some feedback. It wasn't there earlier, so I don't know. Did I touch anything or add anything?
No additions. No.
Okay, we're gonna work on it, family. 10 of I and I here. I'm hearing a little feedback. I don't know if there's something in the mic or something. Is there a wire?
When I was speaking, there was static and it was a form of.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
I hear it when I speak as well.
Okay. So family, we're gonna try. We did a sound check. Everything was perfect, but you know how Babylon is when the powers rise up. Do you have a headset or anything? Let's try. Keep talking.
Yeah, when I speak, the same static is very difficult to hear when I was speaking earlier as well.
Okay, so
yeah. Is there a way we can reboot and begin again? All right.
We are live, so hold on. Let me see. Family, let me know in the chat if you're hearing feedback in the chat. Anyone who's watching, just let us know if it's coming in distorted. We want to make sure this conversation, the ones them can hear it and full joy, because we're gonna go deep tonight, family. Put a sound in the chat if you're hearing feedback on the mic. We're going to sort it out because it was fine. Let me see if I yeah, it's a little static.
Yeah, every time I speak.
Do you have a headset?
I believe so.
Try it and see if that will work. If we plug in something. We're gonna work on it, family. In the meantime, big up everyone online. This is gonna be a great reason in mental, physical health. We want to talk about stress. Yes, man, I burn them herb. Yes, man, I do them thing, but we want to know, how do we deal with stress on this journey?
All right, blessed.
Isis?
Yes, sir. I can hear you straight.
Yeah, man, that sound better.
Yes, sir.
All right, family. So, come into the frame a little bit too. Come into the frame, center yourself in the frame. You see, Lord said that's better. Yeah, man. We never panic. I want the them know, so we never panic, we just deal with what we have to deal with, because we are here and we know the Most High must prevail. So introduce the I self, where the I was born, and the I journey into Rastafari.
Yes, sir. Greetings, beloved ones. I was born in Portland, Long Bay, Jamaica. I forward to Florida when I was about 9 years old, and I've been living in Florida ever since. Now I live in Brooklyn, in New York. So, yes, the tribe of Rastafari began at an early age for I. I was blessed to have older siblings. My father was born in 1930, the coronation year. So
Okay.
I have like 12 siblings, and all of them is in their 70s and late 60s and so forth. So, I was able to eat up elderly food at a young age, at a very small age. One of my siblings was the ones that filed for me to come from Jamaica for forward in Florida. So it was a blessing, and in Rastafari, the liberty that called onto it was just a natural need to connect with something outside of the framework of the European, Eurocentric type of thought process. And once I clinged on to Rastafari, at first it was a different type of energy. It was just like the frequency. But as I've grown in Rastafari, I've grown in the image of His Majesty, Keramoy Haile Selassie.
Okay.
So instead of just going off of the energy of the livity, which is a beautiful thing, the cultural aspect, the cultural expression, those things are beautiful. But when you dig into the life of His Majesty and then you cite his livity and the things that he did on a regular basis, like how he prayed and when he fasted and how he lived and his thought process towards certain things, it made I want to framework my way of thought towards his reflection, or yeah, towards his reflection, you know? So it became not a selfish journey, because I
Yes.
see in this tribe, Rastafari, there is a lot of individuals who have hijacked the name Ras Tafari.
I,
And
I,
if those two individuals, like say if that person and His Majesty was in the same room, His Majesty would actually oppose that person. They would clash. They would not agree. And to think that you will call yourself by the name of someone and then sit in the room of that individual and be in disagreements on simple topics, you know? And so I had to catch myself, because at one point I used to burn out the Bible. I used to burn out the scripture. I used to burn this. You see, the younger me, the younger
yeah.
I would look upon I right now like, yo, fire. I walk on with the eye. The eye kiss the Bible now, Bridging. The eye walk around with the scripture. So, you know, because in Rastafari there is such a wide open space. You know, that's
Yes.
why I believe His Majesty, yo, it's a deep thing. Why it's like this and why it's very difficult to be on a one accordance, because His Majesty spoke of his foundation, of his livity, of his Christ love, of his Christian beliefs. But then he also spoke of yoga in his many faces. He says that the mixture of yoga, and he spoke of not judging others of their beliefs. And he even said that we're not foolish enough to think that our faith is the only legitimate faith. He said that in his words. So when people read these things, it leaves them the opportunity to have free will and have an open mind. You see, free will is an act of God, and that's how you could pick up on the frequency of God from His Majesty, because He gives us the choice. He doesn't force us into a direction, you know? He never says, look at me, 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 me. He comes in the name of someone else, you know? And if you study Hinduism, yoga, if you study any of the great elders and the masters of these crafts, they always had a picture. They always would have a picture of their Lord, you know? They never came in their name. They never came in none of them. All of them. If you go to Yoga Honda, if you go to all of these yogis, they always come in the name of a specific Lord before them, someone that taught them the inspiration to.
Servant. To
Yes, I.
lead, you have to be a servant, you know,
Ras-
to connect with that Christ consciousness, that anointed consciousness. I'm so glad that we're touching on this, because I think, as you say, that's the stagnation in the movement has come from rebelliousness.
yes,
In
I.
the same way that the Rasis opposed His Majesty, you know, during his rise in Ethiopia, and there was civil war even, you know.
Yes, I. Yes,
There's
I.
the same thing happening in the movement, because we have ones that are opposing the teaching and the direction of His Majesty to lead on their own overstanding, and it's creating, you know, incongruity. And then if we look at Yeshua, because we just had an episode on Yeshua, you can check it out from Ethiopian Christmas episode. As you say, He came in the name of the Father, you know what I mean? And then, you know, we hear about the Melchizedek order, which, you know what I mean, you know, Charles Edward, Prince Emmanuel would say, man of right is God in flesh. And if we look at the God King tradition of Kemet, you know, we see that this was an Asian African tradition and way of knowing, that we knew that man and the creator were one, you know, and tried as one, the Telahido, fully human, fully divine. But you know, we mix up a lot, and that's why,
Yes,
because
I.
I didn't grow up with the Bible, so I was like,
Okay.
it's His Majesty that led I there.
Yes,
But
I.
talk to us about, you know, coming from, were you Rastafari when you touched Florida, or?
No, no, no. Ayman was my mother was a very and is a very devoted, like real Jamaican Christian woman. Yeah, I mean, when we started trying Rastafari, she burned me out. Like, you know, my mother was so angry and aggressive towards my tribe. But the reason why is because she's a warrior for Christ. And
Yes.
it's not that she's doing it out of hate. She was doing it out of love. She didn't want I to burn. She wanted I to be saved. And if her state of mind is not revealed, what I was revealed about Keramawi Haile Selassie, then it shall look like I'm going in an opposing direction. But really, I'm treading in the same formation. You know what I'm saying? And over time, as I started to learn more about His Majesty, me and my mother came closer, because I realized that, in the conscious community, we make fun of these Christian people sometimes, right? But if you really meditate upon a real Christian ancient prayer warrior, all they do is chant all day. They sit on the veranda and then just all them do is a chant, Christ of blood, Christ of blood. And them there at the grocery store, them a chant. Anywhere them there, you can't hear them a chant. Those are mantras those people are doing. These people are downloading aspects of their subconscious DNA, and they're actually programming themselves, even though they may know not as much as we may know. The little that they know, they're repeating it constantly, constantly, constantly. And what happens is they're programming their brains, their nervous systems to live and to be submissive and listen to direct to the Spirit of God to the best of whatever ability that they possess. See, we know a lot in this new conscious community, right? But knowledge is nothing compared to wisdom. You hear me? I said to the eye. For you could have a lot of tools and not know how to swing a hammer. And then those tools are just inanimate objects. They're not even worth anything. Is it me? I said fire. So the wisdom of His Majesty, that's why I love His Majesty word sound so much, because you see His Majesty, he didn't teach a lot of knowledge and information and stuff like that. He gave us wisdom. He gave us wisdom. He gave us the application of that information. He never tried to persuade us in a certain direction. He would just spoke up of the application of thoughts, of ways, of perspective, of introspecting your way of conduct with whatever immediate amount of knowledge you possess at that time. Whatever knowledge you have right there, if you possess His Majesty's wisdom, you will be able to apply it greater than a man will have more information than you, you know?
And if we look at Yeshua, when he was talking to farmers and fishermen, the parables are all very simple life examples that he's giving, the thorn and the wheat and the tears. These are all things that farmers and fishermen and simple people would understand. And that was the thing that pushed I over the edge to make me know this is real, because he was taking this esoteric knowledge and giving it to the people. And that is the power,
Yes, sir. True
and
power.
the same thing like the I say, His Majesty, although he was studied he was studied in Latin, he read all of the ancient languages, all of these manuscripts, his library was famous. You can read The Mission by Hans Lockhart. That's a Reading Ras reference that, His Majesty's librarian, and he talks about how many different languages His Majesty could read in.
Yes, sir.
And how he had a photographic memory. All of these things, once testify, but yet still, as you say, when you hear the speeches, it's very simple, plain language, application of knowledge, touchable things. I'm opening a school, I'm opening a hospital, I'm inaugurating this road, this training center. Everything is works and movements, development,
Yes, sir.
progress. So talk to us about the I progress. What is the I education?
Yes,
And when was that moment when the I said, you know what, Iman is Rastafari?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was blessed. I was treading Rastafari as like without Natty for a few years, just gravitating towards the frequency of His Majesty, reggae and certain aspects. But it wasn't really reggae for I. It was really just when I started to read the speeches of His Majesty, I felt fulfilled. I felt full, It just felt like a different type of life and a different type of outlook and perception that was so well-rounded. When I read and study all the different people of the earth, all the different yogis and teachers, and they're sometimes one track. They specify in spirituality, or they specify in national building or unity or economics, or they're very divided. But with His Majesty, it is like you're compacted with every aspect of livity. And so since he was able to be in front of the world for so many years, I believe 40 something years he reigned, that's a long time. He reigned longer than David, Solomon. He's the longest reigning king to sit upon the throne ever, So, when a man is able to be sat on a throne for so long and for people to hear his words for so long, he's left more information and more words and direction than any other person in the earth. So since this is a fact, right, there should not be any confusion. But the confusion comes not from the foundation of Keramoy Haile Selassie. It comes from the egotistical man. And with me, I have to check myself because I looked at myself as this great I am. I used to call myself, running around telling people I'm a God, you know, God, me a God, me a God
Yeah.
virgin. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And in a sense, you are, because you are what your father is, and you are
Yes.
a God, but you are a God of a smaller aspect of an extension. You're like the branch, and the Almighty is like the root. You know, you cannot compare a branch to the root, because even if the branches fall off, the root remains. And so we have to humble ourselves, but it's very difficult to learn about your divinity, learn about your ancient civilizations that you've established, the divine natures of our ancestors. It's hard to learn of these things and still remain level-headed and humbled. It is a very difficult task. This is why when you grow, you must grow in knowledge and wisdom and overstanding. And the overstanding will lead you back to a humbled state, because you will overstand that what you know and the power you possess is coming from a source that is greater than you could even imagine. You know what I mean? Because even in
We're starting out.
I,
You probably
I,
get
I
a
got
call.
I got a phone call. A phone call came through.
Yeah, yeah. Put it on.
So
If you can put
even
it on, do not disturb if you can. We're working it out, family. Big up
technology.
Empress. Yeah, big up Empress Genie. Lion Pride on Patreon in the place. Empress Genie, please put your business IG in the comments, because we want Lion Pride go and support. Sister does natural hair. She's a natural hair specialist. She's also our first guest on Lion Love. Sister was so transparent with I classic episode. Really set a good foundation. We have 2 episodes of Lion Love up on the channel. Make sure you subscribe. We're getting ready. We have the 3rd episode already recorded. Getting ready to drop that shortly. Rastafari Sistrin speaking on the challenges. And I'm going to ask the eye about the Sistrin them same way, because Rastafari Liberty had commented on one of the episodes of Lion Love. So we're going to find out if the brethren is single, all them thing there,
Yes,
what
sir. Yes, sir.
relationships. So,
Yes, sir.
but
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
man, so
Listen, that I can hear right now.
yeah, man, you hear the eye
Yes, sir.
beautifully. So yeah, so just bring us again to, you said that you
Yeah.
used to call
Yes,
yourself
sir.
God, and now you realize you're humble
Yeah.
forward and
Yes,
humble
sir.
forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know, the greatest thing is to reach a higher power, you must submit to a higher power. It's like when you graduate culinary school, you are a chef, but then you must go work in a restaurant and you must work with a master chef. And you must humble yourself to this master chef. Even though you've graduated, you have your degree, and you have your ability, you still must humble oneself, because even though you've mastered it on paper, you have not had the application. And so Keremoy Haile Selassie came to be a blueprint for us. And so, you know, he pointed us to someone. He pointed us not to himself. He pointed us to Yahshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christus, Jesus the Christ.
Yes.
And the people who try to belittle him and try to say he's allegorical or esoteric, it is like the most insulting thing to the nature of your being. Because in one of the proverbs of the Twahido faith, it says that God became man so man could become God. You know,
Mm.
this is what they say in the faith, yo. So this is deep. It's because Adam made us fall. He took away that divine connection with the Almighty because he fell to his fleshy, lower ways. And since he fell to his lower ways, Christ came and redeemed and brought us back to our divine nature to be temples of God, not just creations. And this is the difference between us, like in a Muslim brethren. I love my Muslim brethren, but there's a difference that they don't believe that we are children of the Almighty. They just see human beings as mere creations. You see, within the Twahido Christian faith, it is a deep spirituality that causes people to run away from Christianity. They say Christianity is not spiritual, but it's because they are unbelievers to the heights of the physical and the spiritual coming together to magnify miracles, to walk on water, to heal the blind. They'll say those things are metaphorical because they have not the ability to do so, so they belittle the ability to do it. They say, oh, since, I heard an elder, I won't say a name, but I heard an elder saying, like, if I'm gonna believe in the miracles of Christ, then I'm a fool. And you know, it reminded me of like, say if you went to somebody's neighborhood, right, Bridget, and you see an empress, and you say, "Yo, Bridget, now who that?" And the Bridget said, "Yo, not even watch her, Bridget. She not get enough clear, Bridget." Just because he couldn't get the empress, he believes you can't. And a lot
Really?
of these people, they disrespect Yahshua HaMashiach because they can't do what he did, and they
Yes.
believe that it's impossible because they are so ego-driven in their nature to believe that if me can't turn water into wine, and me can't make a blind man see. So
Yeah.
it must be metaphorical, and it is metaphorical. It does have metaphorical layers, but it's also historical, factual. And in Ethiopia, we believe in angels. You see me, I said fire. We believe in spiritual things happening. We believe that the angels talk to us and walk with us. Even in the Ethiopian faith, there's a belief system that says that one of our saints was brought up to heaven and he was able to witness and write down the ways that the angels praise God in heaven. And so the
Enoch.
way,
Hanak.
and no, it's another that's Enoch. Enoch took down the notes of everything. He literally went and met with every angel. But there's a specific like saint that they
Okay.
said that this specific man went up and he was able to just focus on the liturgy, the prayers, and how they worship and how they rocked and how they sung
Okay.
sung prayers to God. And he wrote this down. And when they came back, the way that the Ethiopian faith prays is in a reflection of the earthly reflection of what that saint witnessed in heaven.
Oh,
So
wow.
so when y'all talk about heights like that, fire, y'all feel chill out when you try to this is
And a lot of ones haven't been to Ethiopia to feel that energy too, because
yeah, it's the
I've been
heights.
blessed to try to Ethiopia and you feel that
Yeah,
spiritual
man.
energy in terms of the unconquered history, the
Yes, sir.
anciency, and the power. I want to just take time and big up Queen Mother Moses online. She says it's a timely topic. January is U.S. National Mental Health Month. Um,
Aye. Yes,
uh,
sir.
we're gonna get into the mental health topic, physical health topic. Right now, we're talking about just the foundation. The brethren is taking us into some spiritual heights. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Lion Pride there. All right, so talk to us about His Imperial Majesty.
Yes, sir.
When was it? Because as you said, most ones when they trot into Rastafari is the culture, is the red, gold, and green, is the locks, is the ganja, is the
Yes, sir.
music. But not everyone makes that transition to really looking at Kadamawi, Haile Selassie, and saying, yes, this is the Almighty manifest in flesh and bone. What was that journey for the eye, and what was the catalyst for that transition?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was a deep separation that occurred with me. I was working regular job. And at my job, I would like write down notes, and the spirit would speak to me, and I would leave these notes all around the workplace. And at this time, I didn't have Nati. I just had like a pendant of His Majesty on a necklace, and it's just like it just became food. And one day, I was able to save up. I was able to save up enough money to quit my job and just meditate on the roof in Florida, pray, meditate. And in this time, this is when I started to take on Kemetic yoga, and I started to I became certified. I went through the process, and in the certification, right before the certification, I went to Jamaica, to Portland, where I'm from, in Long Bay, and I was there, and it's right by the ocean. It's like the most majestic view, and I was there every day, and pretty much went through a certification process there. But it was deeper. It was more like, instead of these movements being what I was taught, I started to move and connect them with qigong and tai chi, and it became more of a prayer in motion more than this simplified yoga. And so the breathing aspect of life became the more catalyst, more than the bending of your body, more than how you can contort and flexibility of the physics. The breath became more important. And when I started to study the scriptures, I realized that every time the breath was spoken of, the breath was always spoken of through the nostrils. Whenever words were spoken of, it was spoken of through the mouth. So in the yoga, they teach you that when you breathe in the nose and out the nose, you're receiving a type of breath that is a depthful breath. It comes from more of a deeper layers of the physics. So it allows you to expand your lungs at a wider capacity. And what happens is that the breath, the oxygen, the chemicals within the oxygen gets to go through the blood. It gets to go through the fullness of the anatomy, and then it leaves out the same place it entered in. So that's a full 360. That's a full circle, a full cipher. And so when you're trying to cleanse yourself, you breathe through the mouth more. But yeah, so I started to learn these things, and I started to grow closer to Christ, and it just was like it seemed like a conflict, And you have some I have a sister, her name is Black Princess Rasta on Instagram. She was like my deep sister, and her mother, rise in peace. Her mother just transitioned recently, and she burned me out when she find out me I certified for yoga. She said, yo, Reggie, that's some demon thing. And then I had another group of Farai that burned me out when them realized that I keep the Sabbath, I uphold the scriptures. So I had these two aspects. And the Most High gave me a word song, His Majesty's speech, where he says, study, examine all things, and choose to follow the good. And then I kept repeating that in my heavens. And when I came back from Jamaica, I went to the Sunday class that they have every day. They have a free Sunday class down there in Florida. You guys want to know, hit me up in my Instagram. I'll give you the directions. A free class on Sunday, every Sunday. And I went. And when I went, they were saying that this is the last time that they will be certifying for this year. And the Most High just spoke in my heart, and I went through with it. And I went through that certification with a lot of instructors and people in that class, disrespecting the Bible to my face and speaking bad about Christ and joking about him and making fun of him and saying that it's a stolen legacy from Kemet and these things are stolen and all these regurgitated lies. And I just humbled. I had the ammunition, the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding to destroy the individual on a theological level. But I humbled myself, and the Most High just let me go through. He says, do not speak of me, show them me. So I just started to pray every day before I went in, and the Most High would just illuminate my being. It wasn't me that these people were in love with. They were in love with the Christ within me. And so at the end of the certification, I went away for a couple of weeks to teach some classes in Maine and in a few different states. And when I came back, they were like, yo, Ras Semaj, man, we missed you so much. What is it about you? You're so, and they're giving me all this praise. And then it's like the Most I said, pull it out right now. And I went in my book bag. I'm going to pull out the Bible. I said, we meet up on Sunday and I have to get fed on Saturday on the Sabbath. They said, the Sabbath? They said, isn't the Sabbath like some Christian thing? I said, yes, I'm Christ. I'm Christian. I'm straight Rastafari, Christ man. And then they all like, yo, it look like them lose them brain. Look like people are throwing out their mouth fire. It's like the man them I look upon me like, you praise Christ? I said, yes, And it was more beneficial at the end of the process because they got to know me without judging me and trying to push me away because of my love of Christ. They got to experience the Christ-like frequency that I receive all the time from him. So I just started to merge everything, and I just utilized the merging of it. I do guided meditations. The guided meditations are founded, of course, in the sphere of the scriptures. I even went to Cali and I was doing a guided meditation with someone that doesn't really subscribe to the Bible, and I used the book of James, and I was reading. I grabbed my Bible while the person had their eyes closed, and I'm reading the book of James with my meditation music playing, and I had the sound bowls, and I have the whole thing. And I'm reading out the book of James, and at the end of the guided meditation, the person is like amazed by the words that I was able to bring forward. And then I was like, I brought it forward from the same book you say you don't subscribe to. So, that's the love,
Yeah,
So,
a lot of people haven't read the book, you know what I mean? Which contains a lot of ancient wisdom. And remember that the Europeans wouldn't have taken the book and corrupted if it didn't have any power, because it doesn't speak of their history. There's no European history in there. When we book up in Europe is Maccabees and their colonizers,
Yes, sir. I was just reading. I was carrying around the iBook today, Fire. So I said, since I'm gonna be reasoning with the I just carried around the iBook. I even left the spot where where am I? Let's see, Fire. This book is, honestly, not even just because I'm on the platform, hold on. Let's stop everything. Yo, listen. Anyone that does not have this book, yo, this book is different. Like I know some of the stuff in here, but there are certain things like even when you spoke of like the dark, what do you call it? Hold on. Chapter 1. What the chapter
The
1
Kefu
dark?
Khan, the Kefu Khan,
The
the
Kefu
evil
Khan,
days.
the
Yeah,
evil days fire. I knew certain things about the evil days. You know, I knew about the droughts.
yeah.
I knew that like, you know, it didn't rain for a period of time before His Majesty's birth. I knew these things, but woo,
Plagues,
yo, this thing is
locusts, cholera, the
yo.
angel of death.
Chapter 1 don't start out light. Yo, King, trust me, King. So I was reading this today. I was even on the road. I was taking my sister around. I took her to the hospital to visit her daughter, and I left them alone for a little bit. I just went into the little open area, and I just read a few more pages. And so this book,
Give thanks for the post and give thanks for the love, because you have
yeah,
a big
man,
platform on
yeah,
Instagram,
man,
and the Brethren has been very generous in terms of sharing his platform and promoting the work. I want to big up Brandon Mitchell, Lion Pride, a check-in. Big up the Lion Pride. I love the community that
yes,
we're
sir.
building here on YouTube and on the Lion Voice Network. And, I want everyone to go to their IG right now and follow Rastafari Liberty. We want to create this ecosystem of I family and support each other's platforms and make the Rastafari dollar circulate. I met the thing just nice, you know what I mean? So give
Yes, sir.
thanks for that promotion. I didn't pay the Brethren family. I didn't pay
nah,
the
this yo, listen. And I'm not being generous. I'm being actual, like I'm being loving to the people who will go buy the book, because it's not a normal book. Because what it does is this volume, what I've seen so far, the beautiful thing that you did, you study the world's atmosphere around the time of his birth, before his birth. You actually intricately sought out information about how governments were moving and nations were moving and how things were unfolding, and it created like you said it before, like how you are into like the Lord of the Rings and certain things. It's like it
Yes,
becomes like a movie vibes, you know what I mean?
yes,
How you
yes.
put the word sounds is very, it's very beautiful. And even this I just, you actually taught me something new on this one right here when you speak of the different natures of the Twahedo faith before it became the Twahedo faith officially.
Yes,
In the
yes,
Ethiopian Christian, they had 3 sets, and I knew of them, but I didn't know the names of them. And
yes,
even the Sas Lidet, that's how you
yes, yes.
the
That,
Sas Lidet. You
yes, that
see,
was in Showa.
yes, I. So if anyone doesn't understand, is that all right? The Twahedo faith, right? They believe that the nature of the divine nature of God, the divine nature of human beings, are perfectly harmonized in Yahshua HaMashiach. It's 2 perfect natures, and it was a natural birth from God from the beginning of creation. Before creation was, Christ was with God. They were one. And then when he came here, his next birth was taken on the flesh of our Holy Mother Mary. You see? So then that's the established Christian faith in Ethiopia right now. But in these other ones, there was 2 more where they believe that he was anointed in the womb and then he became divine. But it is not that nature when it's the Twahedo faith, because as he came in the womb, he was already divine. He took on the physical form of our Holy Mother, who was considered divine herself. This is why in the Ethiopian faith, when they speak that Christian faith do not give praises to women, that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? In the European faith, they don't give praise to women. But in the Ethiopian faith, we have this thing. This is called
Balance.
the
Yeah.
Wadasi Miriam. The Wadasi Miriam is a daily prayer you say to the Holy Mother. And they consider her, and they call her the new heaven. They call her the new Ark of the Covenant. They call her the burning bush that Moses spoke to in the Old Testament. They consider her like a tunnel, like a portal. In order to get to God, you have to go through her. She is the tunnel, she is the matrix, she is the architect. So yes, I.
Well, when you
Just
think about it, every human come through that portal.
yeah, yes, I.
John 9 call it the Stargate.
Yes, I.
The celestial gate. AKA the Pum Pum.
Yes.
But,
Yes, and you see,
but
and,
yeah,
and I wanna speak on that directly, Fire. You
yes, sir.
see, the mental health aspect that we speak of, right? It's not just mental health as far as being crazy, having autism, but also having self-discipline. You see, I personally can speak wide open that there were the worst moments in my life were moments that came from the lack of discipline when it came to the flesh of a woman.
Yes,
And it was not that I had bad intentions. It's just that the gravitational pull between man and woman is a natural thing. It's a part of nature. But we have to not just go with the nature of our physics. We must go with the nature of our spirit.
that's the
And
divine.
yes,
Divine.
I.
So,
So
and that's why I say purpose over pum pum. That's where I
yes,
was
I.
going with it,
Yes,
because
I.
man, we know the nature of man is drawn to that physical, the lower frequency, the chakra, the root chakra, which
Yes,
the
I.
eye can block about. But that higher self, really cultivating that Christ, like, where the spirit control the flesh and not vice versa, is crucial. So let's get into the topic. Let's jump in. Mental, physical health. Let me set the stage. We are in 2024. We're in the quickening. 2023. Nobody know where 2023 gone. Him like him run left out of earth. You know what I mean? We're in
Yes, I.
2024. We have a war in the Middle East that is getting ready to expand. We have inflation. We have plagues. We're just coming out of 2 years of isolation, indoctrination, vaccination, all these things on creation. The cost of living is getting heavier. Crime is increasing in the cities. We have earthquakes, wars, rumors of wars. This is the evening news me I talk about now. How do we, as Rastafari, as Pan African people, maintain physical and mental health in these times? What are your, tell us about what the I do, and then what are some recommendations that the I have for our family?
Yes, I. Yes, I. As the I said, it's very crucial at times, and it's gonna get even more crucial. It's not gonna become calmer. Things are not gonna get better to the naked eye, but we must first of all learn how to intake information without making it become adaptive to part of us, like all of the things we are going in Israel and all these different places in the world. We have to be able to know about what's going on without taking on the emotional aspect of it, because what it does, it's a reason why that they're allowing the news to show dead bodies everywhere. It's a reason why that they're desensitizing the human nature and the human eye to witness death. It's a normal thing. No, you can go up on Instagram every day, and these people who are actually videotaping and sending it out are believing that they're doing something good. And it is good in a sense. Awareness is great. You see me I say? It's good that we are aware of what is going on. We shouldn't hide it. But it is very traumatizing to the nervous system. It's traumatizing to the mind, because the body doesn't know the difference between certain things, right? So like, say someone's surprised, like surprise and surprise you. When you're surprised, the body takes that as a shock. It doesn't take that as happy and good, and it's not good to the body. The body hates that. So the body doesn't know how to differentiate good surprises with bad surprises. Like if we hear fireworks, this is why fireworks is such a traumatic thing, especially up here in I don't know if them really big enough fireworks in Jamaica yet, but
Yeah.
like up here, it's crazy. It's like all day, all you hear is it sounds like gunshots.
Yes,
And I have some family members that live next door to I that's witnessed a lot of death in their life. Lost a lot of loved ones through gun violence. I'm in Brooklyn, and sometimes they have to like turn up loud music when it comes to New Year's and 4th of July, because it traumatizes them. They relive these occurrences. So the best thing that I can say is that, first of all, we must get closer to the Almighty. We must be greater in our morality and our principles and our honesty. These are God body qualities. This is true wellness. This is the real wellness of life before you can get to anything else. And I'm a man that has fallen short of the glory many times in life. But I am at a place in my life that I am unwilling to not strive on a daily basis and pray for redemption or repentance and come greater to the Almighty's will. Because you see, repentance is a mental thing. It actually allows the mind to be free. His Majesty says that if you want a free conscience, you must listen to that quiet voice within. So if we're not being accountable for the things that we do, if we're not taking responsibility for the things that we do, we can lie to ourselves. We can tell ourselves all the mantras in the world. We can listen to any yoga. We could do yoga every day. We could breathe properly. We could eat properly. But we will die early because our nervous systems know the truth. We can't hide the truth from ourselves, right? So this is why you have some people that eat their ital, they exercise, they do all these physical things, but they still have illnesses. Because when you bottle up lies within yourself, this is why a lie detector test, your body reacts in response to when you lie. So you're actually hurting yourself when you lie, when you live a false life. You know what I'm saying? And I would say for the brethrens, humble thyself and don't attempt to find a queen, but don't have so many women in your life that you're participating with sexually, because what's going to happen is that you're not going to be able to receive your queen when the Almighty sends her to you, and you may misuse her. You may not implement as much love as you should in her, and so then you'll lose her. And in the Bible, it says when you find a wife, you find a good thing,
Great thing.
And
Yes,
so for I personally, I was in a relationship recently that didn't blossom to where I would have loved it to be.
I was gonna
Yeah,
ask.
yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not really looking for like girlfriend stuff right now. I pray that the Almighty sends and I see myself worthy, because even the things in the past relationship that didn't work and blossom, I wouldn't say anyone's fault. It was a circumstances of different outlooks and perceptions.
Mm-hmm.
And love the Empress same way. I was looking to marry the Empress. And
Wow.
this is the tools of life that we must go through. You must not meet a woman and just get so infatuated with her physicality. We must dig into her mentality, and we must look if this is a woman that could assist us to be in the greater version of ourselves that we already are. And so marriage is a thing. I was watching the Empress Sila, Honorable Empress, cool Empress.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to her, and she was speaking about the Rastaman,
Yes.
And like, all right, look.
Let's have a real conversation.
Real.
There, we have sisters who are watching.
Hold on, I have to lose something, not it.
We have to take this serious. Fix up the
Yes, I.
The Rastafari bridge not looking good. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been married 16 years. I've been with my queen 20 years. I can tell you, my queen smile every day. All right? I have a clear conscience. But it's not looking good for I and I. Okay. I mean, the man them have a lot of women. Talk to I.
So the reality is this. It's a double-edged sword, and you cannot speak. I sometimes hear the Empress them only speak of man, and the man only speak of the woman. It's a balance, you know what I'm saying? And it's a reason why it's this way. A lot of times, a lot of Rasta women, like women in particular, say, why do Rasta man love woman so much? Oh, them have so much woman. And it's not that all, I'm not going to say all. Some are they just wear natty and use their so-called energy from Rastafari to prey on the women. There are some people like that. But you have someone that's just genuinely wise, knowledgeable man. And if they're wise and knowledgeable, there's going to be a lot of women that's going to gravitate towards them. And it is just the inability to be able to restrain oneself from the offers and the natural flow of things. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a real thing that I fell for when I was doing classes. I connected with like probably two of the people like over a span of time, and it was horrible because when a person meets you, like even if you're a reggae singer or you're a performer, if somebody meets you in that specific realms, do not use that power and that energy to then connect. Know that they'll push themselves on you, but you have to know that they're pushing themselves on the experience that they had by listening to you, by being in your class. So you have to have deeper, His Majesty says a leader must have like a higher level of sexual bodily control, you know? And so you have to ask more of yourself. It's hard. I'm not trying to make it look like it's an easy thing. What makes it easier is this. When you find a good woman, do whatever you need to do that doesn't lead you away from the Almighty, to work with that woman and to have that other half, because our sexual desires, if we're not fulfilled in a fully sexual way sometimes as men, we would make dumb, irrational decisions. Women too, but women have more control over their physicality. They have less control over their emotions. A
Emotions, yeah.
woman would be in a very heightened sexual like passion, and they will say, "Nah, I don't want to do anything." But internally or physically, their bodies are reacting, but they're not gonna just act on it because they're more strategic. They not saying that they play games in a
Well,
in a
historically, because they carry the womb, they
yes I
carry, there's more consequences for them making a poor choice. So,
yes I yes I yes I
historically, that's the case. And Empress Genie said, "D discipline," and that
yeah
is something
yes
that we
I
preach on this
yes
channel.
I yes I
Purpose over pum pum. Call it D discipline, dick discipline, whatever you want, call it. But we are very serious about that because we see it mash up a lot of works in
yeah
the
man,
community. We see a lot of
definitely
baby mother, baby father business where not necessary. The next episode of Lion Love, the sister, you know, we go through her love history, and it made I sad because the sister said her family, everyone in her family is Muslim, and she's the only Rastafari, and she have three baby father, three youths, and her family looks at her and she feel away, you know what I mean? And it's
yes
all
I
Rastafari brethren that she, for the most part, are within the community that she's trying to cultivate these relationships. And brethren have other women and things. That episode is gonna be a hot topic when it drop. But
yes I
um, how old is the eye? How old
uh,
is it?
37 I
37. Okay, so
yes
the eye
I
is
yes I
younger than I. The
yes
eye
I
can be a little brother to I. And I always say, because I went through the gallus phase, you know what I mean? So I'm not perfect. I know the other side too. I don't try to present myself like I'm a perfect person, but I think to bring it forward to the topic, the mental health, when you have children that are growing up under different roofs,
yes
you're
I
not able to have all your children under one roof. Your ex might be dealing with a next man who you don't really like him energy, and you're thinking about him around your youth, them, and it creates a lot of mental strain and tribulation, and then your youth not happy. You can't be there. I grew up with my youths, and I give thanks. I have two youths. I've been with them
yeah.
since they were, cut them neighbor string. I've been with them, and I can't imagine not coming and seeing these youths every day. So I can only imagine what a
Yes,
brethren
I,
go
yes,
through
I, yes,
when
I.
it
So
comes
I am
to
the opposite of that fire.
it. Okay. How many
Um,
youths do I
I
have?
have two youths. I have two
Yes.
youths, right? And I moved to New York for my daughter on behalf of my daughter,
Okay.
And so I live like 8 minutes away from my oldest daughter. So I
Okay.
moved up here because my family had a space that I could renovate and make my own. So I
Yes.
was blessed for that. And yeah, so I'm on attempted to make it work within the relationship, but the problem was not that like I would say that any like cheating or woman thing. I'm
Yeah.
not like that was not the issue. What was the issue is this is not building a solid foundation to see the harmonious frequency between the two before we create life, before we lay down together, and that's what occurred. I would say that these daughters should have been like more of a sister to I, more of a friend
Yes.
of I, not someone that was romantically compatible
Mm.
for my end, whether I came up short or they, whatever it is, the frequency was not meshing, and we had high points. But the thing is, sparks. You see, I talked to somebody. I said, enough times we go after the spark. We have a spark moment, right? So me and my child's mother was in Jamaica. She's never been to Jamaica. She came to Jamaica. We connected. Life was created. But in that moment, it is like all of the energy is heightened because of like it's a momentary thing. But
Yes.
instead of a spark, you need a solid balance of a rhythm, of a consistency, of a frequency. Then you could see whether or not this person is meant to be,
Yeah.
And even that's why I held strong in my last relationship. Even at the end of our relationship, we stopped having any type of sex, and we were attempting to wait until we were married, and this actually blessed I, because if I didn't do that, I probably would have created another youth and another situation that would have been disconnected, and it hurts I hard. I do the best I can. I have my youngest daughter with me for the last 5 months or so. So
Yes.
she's rested in there, and she's been hearing I talk. So instead of rested, she's making certain noises trying to get my attention. So right now I've been having my youth for like for a long period of time by myself, just I.
Yes. Okay.
And yes, and my other daughter, she lives like 8 minutes away from I. But I do what I need to do to be in their lives, but it would have been so much easier and so much more natural flow if I
Yes.
would have, to all of the young Far Eye, one thing I could say to the item, hold thy seed. Do not spill your sperm. Do not jump into the flesh. Like, really restrict oneself to a height. You see, when the scriptures speak of, like, first finding a wife before you indulge in the sexual act, it is not trying to, in Rastafari, we have this thing where we spiritualize everything. We say, say, once me meet an empress, I'm a wife already, so me no need to.
Yeah.
And that's really coming from the flesh can use the knowledge that we possess to do sinful things to make
Yes,
it okay and justify it. The justification of actions are done all the time, especially with knowledgeable people.
Yes.
And this is why the conscious community is rampant with a lot of foolish, my spirit told me to do it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
don't want your spirit is not this thing you should wait for. The Almighty Spirit. You
The
should hold
Almighty.
the Holy Spirit.
There's a lot of spirits. It's the same thing with ancestors. I tell you, all your ancestors are good ancestors. You're calling up all of these ancestors.
Fire.
You don't know who.
Fire. May I tell people that for the longest, so when we dead, all of the people what we know in our life are gonna turn into ancestors for somebody one day. Do you think that your cousin down the street is worthy to be called upon to 2 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years from now? You have to realize this is why in the Ethiopian faith it's very powerful. I love it because you see, the people they call saints are righteous ancestors. Those are ancestors that walked with God, walked in a divine nature. They amplified certain type of energy. So depending on what kind of situation you're in, that's the saint, that's the ancestor you'll call upon to assist you in that moment. So this is why in the Ethiopian faith they have so many different saints. And even in the northern regions of Ethiopia, a church actually made His Majesty into a saint. Saint made him into a saint. But I don't really accept that, because in order to be a saint, you have to be no longer in the physical, and I cite that His Majesty is still within the physical. But just to go on that aspect, you have to be more specific to the people you're calling on and to what you're calling on. And like I said, people say I am spiritual, but there's a lot of different spirits roaming this world, and you must make sure that you're not taken upon a spirit that is disguised as good. You see, there's a book here, Fire. I would love for the item to get it. Just wanted to make a honorable mention to this book right here. It's called Diabolical Wars. And this brethren is a brethren of His Majesty. He is considered the highest of the Coptic Egyptian Orthodox faith. And in this book, he goes through the methods, the mental methods. He says that the devil is the greatest psychoanalyst because he watches every move that we make. And he cannot internalize and control us, but he can trick us into us controlling ourselves for his betterment.
He's an influencer. The devil is an influencer, the first influencer, Satan.
Yes,
Dread Immaculate says, give thanks for this reasoning. The talk about having sparks with a woman, I feel deeply. I'm 25, so it's good to hear from older Far Eye talk about how to deal with these situations and remain disciplined. So this is why these platforms are so key and these reasonings are so key, because that brethren might be able to avoid the baby mother road. You know what I mean? And let me tell the item something. Black women are the most beautiful creation that ever put upon this earth. You know what I mean? That is without question. So it's what we're saying is not that it's going to be an easy road. Because when you start to exemplify and you live in your divine self, you attract women like a magnet. You know what I mean? But they're not coming for the eye necessarily. They're attracted to the light of the eye. And one of the things when I was treading up that I did, because I had a traumatic experience, I did a celibacy chart, a monastic chart for many years, as a young Far Eye. And that's how I was even able to select my wife. Because when I was in law school, I had women throwing themselves at I don't toot a horn. But I have to talk a reality, when we start sight up, this was happening. And it was because of that discipline that I was able to say, okay, this is the system that really fit into the purpose, you know, because as a man, you have to vet the queen, and the only way you can properly vet a queen is by knowing your purpose and walking in that purpose, because a woman was created as a helpmate. They are there to make sure that the eye meet your goal. I couldn't do any of the work that the I see I'm on doing without I Queen. There's nothing that I do that I Queen is not involved with, you know, as it relates to I'm
That's
on
right.
Chad. So it's
Yes,
very
sir.
crucial. And the thing about the Queen that is the mystic is that it allows the eye to be in two places at one time. You
Yes,
know, I
sir.
was out the other day, I forget my wallet. Me just call me Queen and sort out a thing, and you know what I mean. I was able to put something on my phone that if not, I would have been chopped because I'm in a garage and don't have no cash on me. But guess what? Because I have my queen now, I can be in two places at one time. I have another brain, I have another side of I
Yes, sir.
that's
Yes, sir.
there fully functioning. And that is the power, brethren and sisters, of two becoming one.
Yes, sir. And
So
the I said something I wanted to block a word zone
yeah,
forward to. The eye said that the eye was able to hold and restrain the eye's physical and be celibate for a while, right?
yes,
You
yes.
see, I tell the Idrins this is reality. When you have sex with a woman, it blurs your outlook and your judgment and your perception of that person. You have to have a clear mind, and she has to have a clear mind as well, because it's even worse for her, because when a woman orgasms, they release certain chemicals that bond you to the person that they're connecting with on a deeper
Oxytocin,
level. Yes, I.
oxytocin. Yes, I.
Yes, yes, I. So we have to know that we sometimes the woman's love and desire for us can be blurred. That's why the divorce rates are so high. Women divorce men at an 85 percentile compared to men. Man, we're a logical base. So when we decide to be with a woman and we're serious about it and we're a good man and a righteous man, it's normally a conviction that is not going to be shifted by the wind that blows or by a tribulation that comes. With a woman, you have to walk in your purpose. Like I said, I wanted to block that word on as well, because I caught myself in a relationship at times focusing so much on the Empress that I no longer was actually applying the things that created the man that she was attracted to. And so when you're not fulfilling your purpose, a part of your energy and godly ability goes away, and you become the servant unto the woman when the woman is supposed to be the servant unto the eye. But if the woman has nothing to serve, then she loses her purpose as well. Then she has to take on a different role, and it takes her out of her natural nature.
Out
And
of her
so,
femininity, it puts her in a masculine frame.
yes, I. So what occurs is that a lot of times good brethren and good sisters come together, and it's not always this big bad drama, because honestly, I had no cheating affairs with my woman and no craziness like that. It was just moments of not holding oneself to realize who this purpose and who this person was in your life before you acted upon the flesh. You know, sometimes some of these sisters could have been women that could have helped me in my platform in a
Yes, I.
platonical way. This could have been like an intricate tool within that God gave unto I, but instead, sometimes you man and woman energy, you have to pray. You cannot just depend on, oh, I got no, you have to pray. You have to train your thoughts, train your brain to submit to the spirit and the nature of God. When you're living in righteousness, it's very hard to sin. When you're praying, like today, I believe that I don't know if God, you know, if the Almighty reveals to I that I did a sinful thing today, I pray that He reveals it to I. But I was reading, I was reading my scriptures. I was reading your book all day. I was in a state of, right before the reasoning, my Bubba Bridgen called me. We was praying together, reasoning on some heights together, you know. So when you're in that nature, if a woman comes and tries to offer herself onto I right now, it's not gonna work, because I'm on a heights. I'm bulletproof right now. You see me? I said, but if you're not doing your disciplines and putting yourself in a position to overcome the physical flesh, you will falter to it, no matter who you are. Solomon, the very wise man that we love so much,
Wisest man.
you
Yeah.
know, and it was not that he was running after women. He was so wise that women were running after him, but he could have used them for the divinity of the Most High. But instead, he faltered to their ways, and instead of being in his purpose, like the elder just said, he wasn't in his purpose anymore. He started to become in their purpose, started building
Trying
shrines
to
for their
please them.
gods,
Yeah, trying
please
to
them.
please them. Yes, woman
Yes,
pleaser.
I. Right,
And
hot.
the worst thing you can do with a woman, take it from I, is put her on a pedestal. Women don't, they might tell you they want that, but they don't want that because, you know, the pedestal is reserved for the Most High. You know, that is where you exalt as a servant, and that keeps the flame that, you know, going once she's in your purpose. That's the aphrodisiac achievement. You know, walking in your purpose, that becomes the aphrodisiac, you know, when you have a virtuous woman. So we really have to take it serious. Lion Pride, a check-in. Brandon Mitchell says, taking in the knowledge dropped in this reasoning, I have learned quite a bit about courting and vetting from this platform. Give thanks. And that's one of the reasons that I created the platform, because I realized that, you know, the married man in Rastafari are not talking, you know, because a lot of time when we're married, we're just nice and we are full joy, but the single man them a talk, the gallus them a talk, everybody's talking and promoting their thing, and we not promoting this life. And then the young youths get caught in the glamour that appears from the gallus lifestyle, and it leads to stress.
Yes,
To get
sir.
us back to the forward to the topic, what is the IC? Because New York is a stressful environment. You know, it's I can only be in Holyoke for about 3-4 days before I have to leave, because it's like overstimulation. There's so much things
Yes,
happening.
sir.
You know what I mean? It's just like people. You know, you're in Manhattan, it's just people. It's like a wave of people just down the sidewalk, big buildings, you know, lights, everything is happening one time, every type of food, every type of person on the earth. Is really the great city of Babylon. You know, how
No,
does the
for real
idea
fire.
with the stress of Oliarch and
Yes,
again,
sir.
what do you recommend for the brethren and for the sister in terms of dealing with mental health?
I would say that you have to have a trinity aspect. You have to do the physicality, the spirituality, and the mentality. If one is missing, there is a chain reaction. And so with the mentality is the discipline. You see, the mentality drives the body, it instructs the physical. But the mentality must be submissive to the spirit and to the nature of God, or it will instruct the physical to do wrong. So, like, on a regular basis, you have to rise. When you rise, you have to move the body. You have to breathe. You don't have to do anything for long periods of time. 15 minutes as you rise. You just do some breathing exercises where you may grab a part of your organ, put a pressure point to it, lean to the side, and take deep breaths in. And then repeat it on the opposite, opposing aspect. These simple things open up passages within the organs. It massages the organs so that the organs can feed our neurological system better. It could help us respond to the hectic natures of our environment. Because living in New York, like I said, has changed that. Before I came to New York, I had like bit of locks and I'm a beard fire, you know, and now them gone. So like New York is a stressful. It's compacted. So what you have to do, you have to create a bubble effect. You have to be able to, before you leave your home, you have to pray. You have to set your space of mind to be able to respond and not react. You see, when you react to things, it's an impulsive movement. You know, you react to a bite, you go like this, you know. But when you respond, it's more like a thoughtfulness to it. So instead of
Jen,
being jerk
Jen.
react, you cannot be reacting, because that's the downfall of most men.
Okay. The man dropped too much knowledge. We lost the connection momentarily. We wait for the brethren to come forward. If you have not subscribed to the platform, make sure you subscribe. Lion Voice Network. We're dropping gems tonight. We're talking about man things, woman things, mental health. We're going to talk about the physical health. You heard the brethren say, when you rise in the morning, make sure you stretch. I get my children up in the morning and we do exercise together, yoga, make them do push-ups, sit-ups. You know, we're on that vibration, and it's necessary. You should start your day, get your blood circulating, oxygenate your blood, deep breathing. All of these things are crucial. As Rastafari, we should be the embodiment of health. We brought the world ital. We shouldn't have no big belly Rastafari. We shouldn't be dealing with diabetes and hypertension and all of these things. You know, and a lot of us are junk food vegan. You know, we have to go forward to the ITAL, IRITS, and just really try exemplify that good living. It's incumbent on I and I, you know. Hold on one moment here. You said the reasoning got good, no lie. Yes, Freeway Jet. We're just getting started. The brethren, as you can see, is the Heights brethren. If you're not following him on Instagram, Rastafari Liberty has over 18,000 people on his platform. Now I can see why the brethren is dealing with some great things. And I give thanks for his transparency as a young brethren. He took accountability for his last relationship and, you know, chatting. A lot of brethren are in the same circumstance. And the prophecy says that there'll be 7 women to 1 man. That doesn't mean that you're supposed to sleep with all of the 7 women, them, you know. It means that the Most High will send the sister into the eye. And as he said, and I've said this before, that you have to, you know, a lot of time you have a business, you have a purpose, and all of these sisters are coming to help you fulfill the purpose, but you sleep with them, you run them away, and you don't get that strength. That's free labor that's coming to come and support the eye, but because you're not disciplined, you probably run off the people, your support team, your core team. And anything you're doing right now, you have to build a tribe. That's why you see I come with the Lion Pride, because I have a vision in terms of Rastafari multimedia. We want to do animation. We want to do feature films. We want to do all kind of things with this network from a Rastafari standpoint. But we have to build from a core. So I big up my Lion Pride. If you haven't joined the Patreon, please join the Patreon. $5, $10 a month, $25 a month, whatever you can afford. We have to invest in what we want, because nobody's coming to save us, family. Nobody's coming to save us. We are in the Armageddon, and if we don't build the alternative to Babylon, we're going to perish with Babylon. So the money that we're making, the fiat currency, if we're just spending it with Netflix and Amazon, and we're not supporting platforms like the Lion Voice, like I Never Knew TV, like Rastafari Liberty, like Rastafari TV, all of these entities that are Garvey TV. We're going to be doing some collaborations with some other Pan-African platforms as well. If we're not supporting these with our dollars, family, then we really not serious. We have to fund our own liberation. And as you can see with the Lion Voice Network, we're bringing the lions to tell their own story, because I don't want to go through a third party when I want to hear about Rastafari vibration. I want to talk to the people that I know are credible in Rastafari. I want to hear from them directly. And these are people I don't typically see on platforms. I know them. So that's why I created my own platform. And we have huge plans. Bahamas 3D imaging, big up yourself. As Rasta, why we push, quick to push the empresses to the back. We're moving just like Babylon. Women stay behind, that's wrong. I agree. Bahamas 3D imaging. We have to uplift the sister in them, and this is why the discipline is so crucial. All right, so we're forward again, family. And I want the aspiring content creators for us watch the example. You notice we never panic, because we know say what must be will be. We just keep reasoning, keep the energy flowing, because the bridging forward, we know say it must happen.
You know?
Yes, I. So I want the I continue, because we were talking about the physical exercise. I'm a bridging right now. I'm 46 years old, and I'm working on my 6-pack right now. You know what I mean? Because core strength to eye is really crucial as you get older, your posture. And I really see even how His Majesty sit. When you look at the posture that His Majesty hold, you know, and the breathing, and there is testimony. If you read Roman Polanski, it's a book that is supposed to be a propaganda against His Majesty. But one of the servants said that he observed His Majesty in practicing yoga poses, standing on one leg in a yoga pose for hours and these things. So I believe that, because when you see I tell people just try sit like His Majesty for a whole day. The focus and the determination. Yes.
Upward.
Just try that, and the breathing
Yo.
that you have to do, and the core strength, in terms of that show you the divinity in terms of the thought. If you just hold that frequency in terms of being seated. But talk about the exercise, King.
Yes, I. So, like I was saying, it's not that you must. I believe that sometimes when people overwork and overexert themselves, and they get amazing bodies, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but it is not really a necessity for longevity of life. There's a thing that I do, or I attempt to do every time I eat. Right before I eat, 30 minutes before I eat, I do like a high intensity workout to get the blood flowing, because the heart doesn't really pump. The lungs pump the blood into the heart and allow the blood to move at a certain pace. So if you need to go up and down, do simple movements, bring the knees up, bring the knees down, bring the knees up, bring the knees down. But the most important aspect of all of this is that every movement must be exalted with the breath. Every time you move up, you breathe in. You breathe out, you push down. Breathe in, breathe out. So there's not one movement that you will do. Even if you move fast, you will do like something we call the breath of fire. You will do rapid breaths. So it's like, so it's all about rapidness, but it's still breaths that are needed in order for the movements to correlate something beneficial. So I would say that before you eat, attempt to do some movements, because what happens is this. When you do that, you allow the flames within your body to ignite. So whatever food you put into your body automatically gets burnt into fuel. It gets transformed into energy, something beneficial for the neurons, for the body, for the physics of the body, right? But if your flames are not on fire when you put the food in, enough of the times you just are waste. So enough times, this is why you will go to the bathroom and you have like a whole heap of shit. You'll be going to the bathroom a lot, is because you either ate too late and you went to bed with that stomach not being digested. And so the digestion process happens in a lazy state. So you're not moving, you're not turning that food into some type of fuel. So then it comes out of you in the early rising. But if you would have did something before and you would have done something after in some type of walking, you know what I do after I eat? I go for a walk. I go for a walk fire. And I live in East New York. Anyone would know that place. I live in the hood. Very dangerous community, right? Gunshots all the time outside. I pray before I leave, put on my hoodie, and I go for a walk. And I go for a walk, and the walk is intentional. So as I'm walking, I'm making sure I'm breathing properly. I'm not walking fast and trying to hurry up. I'm walking very purposefully, very steady, very slow. So I would say after you eat, go for a walk. I don't care how cold it is outside. Right now it's cold up here, but I still go for a walk, for like a 5-10 minute walk. It's better than nothing. So that's the main thing that I would say to people is a lot of the food is not being transformed over to fuel. It's becoming waste within the human anatomy. So you can go on YouTube and type in 20-minute high intensity workouts, and so you could do them yourself. So you could do little push-ups, squats are very, very powerful. You see, squats are one of the movements that actually feed the entire anatomy. And when you're at that lowest stage, when you're squatting, it is a very vulnerable space that you're in, because you're at your weakest. That is your most weakest, most vulnerable space that you could ever be in, as a man, as a woman, whatever. And when you're rising up, to push forward out of that vulnerable state gives you mental and spiritual strength as well, because it's symbolic in a sense, right? You're going to the weakest state of your life, which many of us will go through. I went through a lot of weak states. And when you come out of that weak state, you have to have faith. If you even have this strength, but you go down to that weak state and you do not push yourself forward in faith and believe that you shall rise, you shall stay down in that weak state, and you could hurt yourself. You could do damage to yourself. A lot of yogis hurt themselves a lot. A lot of people who practice yoga, they damage their bodies because they're flexible, they're stretching the muscles, but they're not strengthening the muscles. You know what I'm saying? And for years, that was me. A year ago, I had a knee injury, right? I had a knee dislocation. I did it on the beach in Jamaica, and I was doing this qigong move that I normally do, and my feet went deeper and deeper into the sand. And I normally jump up and I put my feet together and I normally land. But the weight of the sun pulled my knee and dislocated the knee because
Wow.
I was focused on so much flexibility
Yes.
and not strengthening the knee. Get a
Okay.
gallon, get some weights and squat with the weights. And when you squat, you push the thing forward. Squat, push the thing forward. You see, those squats, when you have something in your hand, dumb bars, whatever weight, 10 pounds.
Talk about weight training, because I know also as you get older, you need to push weight to build your testosterone, because
A lot of these, man, testosterone, that's a big thing for the Idrians right now. You know, they did a study that showed that the testosterone levels compared to like 1960s are at like an 80% decline for the majority of men.
we're not working, you're not doing physical labor.
So
And
you
for
have,
men, yeah, that physical labor, pushing weights,
yes,
that causes your body to say, okay, I need muscle, I need to feed this system, so I'm going to produce testosterone, your endocrine system.
You're pushing, you have to, when the testosterone gets unlocked, is that, you know, the state where you get tired, where you feel like the push-up is no more.
Yes.
That is when the testosterone is being unlocked. When you're running, like say if you're running and you start to feel real tired and your body starts to actually pump and pulsate, this is when the chemicals in your body are actually being released. Before that, you just warm up the body.
Exactly.
The warm up, after the warm up, then becomes the beneficial parts. And so the eye speaks of that, and it's very important because you see the testosterone levels in us are going down to a point where it's causing a lot of emotional, man.
Yes.
A lot of brethrens out here are living in such a high emotional state that they have more feminine ways than the women that they're with. You know what I'm saying? And it causes an imbalance. And it's some good brethren too. It's some real good brethren. They have good hearts, good intentions. And this is why a lot of women, it's such a messed up thing, right? The women say they want a good one, but they want a certain type of man that exuberates a certain type of energy. And a lot of the good brethren don't exuberate this energy. They don't release this energy because they're so timid. They're so passive aggressive, and they have so much feminine tendencies. But they're very genuine. They're loyal. They're honest. They have morals. They're good brethren. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot
of them didn't grow up with father figures in the home, so they didn't have that model. And that's one of the things I give thanks to my father all the time. My father and my mother still together, and see him hold it as a general my whole life, up to today. So it's so crucial, and this is another reason why you don't want to split up your house, because you want your sons, your daughters to see you as a man functioning, in the kingdom. The family is the first government. So you really have to see it up as a king within your palace and govern the family. So what I say is so crucial in terms of the spiritual wellness. You talk about the physical wellness. Talk to us about the mental wellness. How do you preserve the mental health?
It has to be something that is done consistently. Just like you take a shower every day, you take 2 showers every day. You have to program the mind, or the mind will program you. You see, our mind downloads so many downloads a day. We have to watch what we watch. We have to be mindful of what we intake, because even though you may not be thinking that these images or these things that you're entertaining yourself with are actually harming you, they eventually show up in other ways, and you may not recognize them, because sometimes the illness and the symptoms are not one and the same. They the illness is not the same as a symptom, and so we're not recognizing that they're working against one another. So I would say that to make sure that you constantly introspect to oneself. When you have nothing to do, sometimes don't pick up a book. Sometimes don't watch TV. Just sit with oneself. And a lot of times people don't like to have those quiet moments with yourself because you do not like yourself. And sometimes you have to come to a place where you have to denounce the experiences, not to define who you are. For if you define yourself by the life experiences that you have had in your past, you will probably not like yourself. But this is why Christ says you must be born again. And so when we repent for our sins, if you hold on to the things that you have done or have been done to, or someone has done towards you, it will impact you in such a way. I don't have hatred. I can never hate someone for a longevity of time. I will do a just deed if necessary. Like if somebody does wrong and it is a necessity for me to move in a certain manner towards them, yes, definitely take care of the issue. But to hold that malice within your heart, you know, it only poisons you. His Majesty says something like that. He says we must work side by side with our former colonizers for any
Yeah, at
form of
least we'll
hatred.
let the acid of hatred poison our own heart. Yes, that's a speech to the OAU founding a serious sound.
And then when you study the science of it, when you have anger, when you have very angry moments.
All right, you see, when we go ahead.
Yo, listen to the old powerful His Majesty words on this. You literally release acidic properties out of your body, out of your heart, when you have angry moments, frustrated moments. So when you're stressing and you're angry, you're actually poisoning your own body. So His Majesty's words are they're very simple, but they're very impactful and depthful and full of substance, you know. And I would also recommend as well, Fire, to read a lot of the words of His Majesty if you're saying that you are tried in Rastafari. Don't listen to me, don't listen to this ayah, don't listen to none of us, Fire. Go to the source itself, get the autobiography, you know what I'm saying? Get the autobiography, read the words of His Majesty, see how he thinks. And if you, at the end of it, if you are willing to submit yourself unto this thought process, then you should call yourself by the name of him. But if you don't, at the end, if you say, yo, you know what, I don't really like this energy, just call yourself, I don't know, go find another scholar or something, you know what I mean?
Just call yourself a roots man. You can be a roots man still, you know.
A cultural man, you know?
Yeah, cultural man. You don't have to say Rastafari. It's so crucial what the I say about the teachings of His Majesty. I tell people, you know, I have to always go with His Majesty, because when I look at the resume, and if I look at your resume side by side, you understand?
Hold on, Fire. This is the thing that I always like to talk about, right? Enough times people always I go with like, and this is, I have all the respect for these people I'm gonna name, right? I love Malcolm. Malcolm X is my favorite, like, American revolutionary person. He's my favorite by far, right?
Wisdom.
Love Malcolm, right? I love Marcus Garvey. I have respect for even Farrakhan. I give Noble Drew Ali and all of these different people. I give very high respect for these people, right? They spoke of going to war with the white man, but in honestly speaking, Ketamoi Haile Selassie is the only one that literally went to war. He got a gun and he shot down airplanes and he actually war against them. He acid from the bombs exploded on his skin and he was in the front. They said, one of the journalists said that he placed himself in constant danger, gunning down he took the machine gun over and he gunned down the enemy with precise precision. You see, he never spoke loud and he never spoke hatred. He never spoke about going against the white man. But when it was time and it was necessary, he did it. He spoke of love. He spoke of unity. He said to work side by side with our former colonizers. Do not allow them to make us be something we're not. You know, he says, do not do unto us what the enemy has. Do not do unto the enemy what the enemy has done unto us, because it doesn't make us any better than them. You know, and in the Bible, it says that it is very easy to love those who love you. But the true nature of Christ is to give on to love to those who do not give love to you. That is the true spiritual heights. It is not being a punk. It's not being soft. It is being not willing to degrade one's morality and nature because of your emotional disposition. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, His Majesty is the greatest example. And he also said, be mindful of those who try to come into Africa camouflage in different forms of colonization. So he said for us to show love to them, but he did also make us aware to be not gullible and naive in our actions, you know?
He was also funding the independence movement in Southern Africa and arming the rebels, the Mau Mau, the freedom fighters in Angola, South Africa, all of them who come to Ethiopia for training. So it's not just a lip service in terms of, as you say, he speak love, but he's not naive to what needs to be done for the liberation. But we cannot, as you say, we cannot become what we hate. And we see that, you know, the European Jews right now in the Middle East, what's happening. You know, they burn the Nazis, but then look what they're dealing with the Palestinian. You know, you become the same thing that you say you are against. You know, you become that because of that acid of hatred that you have not cleansed. You know, and this is what the Christ tradition teaches us. You know, and His Majesty is the embodiment of that highest order on the throne of King David.
Yes,
we can't. Rothschild, Lion Pride said, why is Bubble Hill desolate? Be careful of the abomination of desolation. Scripture said, Rothschild is one of our regular family. You know, I can't speak to Bubble Hill. I do have some interviews with some Bubble Shanty brethren coming up that will be on the I Never Knew TV. We spoke with Priest Lamont and some of the other Bubble Shanty brethren about Prince Emmanuel. So stay tuned for that. But I don't want to speak for the Bubble Shanty family. Them, you know. Him say if Omega is so important, why Bubble run her out of the yard? I said do not touch that. Rothschild.
Yo, fire! I'm here, fire the man forward with.
No, Rothschild, that's every strong, you know, every community need a fireman. Rothschild is our fireman.
Yes, and you know what I would say, not to speak anything directly, but you know, I cite that the core of all things must forward to His Majesty. And you know, recently I'm going through the process of studying to be baptized within the Orthodox faith, right? And you see, when I found out that His Majesty was baptized, I want to be baptized too. When I found out His Majesty fast on Wednesdays and Friday, I go fast on Wednesdays and Friday too. When I find out His Majesty, you know what I mean? I go implement certain aspects of His Majesty. Of course, he's an emperor, so there's going to be certain aspects of his life that's going to be in a different stance than the individuals that take on a vow towards him. It's like in Ethiopia, they have the Batawis, right? They have these monks who have locks like us. I know that I knows this.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to state this because sometimes people say, you know, His Majesty didn't have locks. Why did I them have locks? His Majesty, he did this. Why don't you do what he did? But you have to realize he did not take a vow unto I. It's I that took a vow unto him. And so he is not living a monastic life. He's not in a monk stage. He's in an emperor stage.
Yes,
so
sir.
His Majesty must not just deal with spirituality for those who are, he's dealing with an empire, many different facets, many different people. So he has to wear many different hats, but every hat he wore was of a righteous nature. And this is what we must take away from it and implement within the liberty of Rastafari, you know?
Yeah, and in the same way that Yahshua was an Orthodox Jew, but Christians who come in his likeness are not Orthodox. It's an elevation and a fulfillment of the tradition of the law. It's the embodiment. So His Majesty become the embodiment of that Christian, that Christ-like life, the defender of the human faith, ruler of the universe, and these things. So we don't walk as Christian, we walk as Rastafari, because now a revelation has been revealed, and we walk, you know, His children are called by His name, and we are His children. And the same way his goal was to the building of heaven on earth, the highest of Himself shall establish her, you know, setting the foundation for a liberated Africa. You know, to this day, I was talking to Ras Stephen. That interview is up, and we were reminiscing. You know, I was in Ethiopia, 2002. I arrived at Addis Ababa in transit to Accra, and it was at dawn, you know, and you had to come off of the plane and walk on the runway. And I'm looking down the runway with the sun coming up in the mountains, and I'm just seeing the line of plains with the Lion of Judah. And then you look around and you see the skyscrapers and this majestic city, you know, that is rising, and you know, you're up 7,000 plus miles above sea level, breathing that morning air.
Yes,
And
right.
I'm just saying, this is what this king established in a real life. You understand?
Real life,
Come and
exactly.
fly by Ethiopia airline, and I'm seeing the legacy that is the capital of Africa, you know, that has been laid out by His Majesty. Every brick, every touch has been planned out and laid out from, you know, the mastermind, the master builder. And this is what we embody, and this is what our goal is, and our mission as Rastafari is the building of this new Africa, the creation of this Edenic, with the return to that Edenic state. And if anything short of that is a joke. And this is why when you read His Majesty's speeches, he talk about raising the standard of living of the people through education, through practical means, to elevate the people to that divinity. You know what I mean? So that is where we are. If you have any questions, family, put them in the comment section. 22 of I, 23 of I online live. Hundreds more will watch this on the replay. But we give thanks for everyone in the Lion Pride. We are talking about mental, physical health and wellness. I want the eye to talk about the eye work. You said you have a practice, prayer in motion. Talk to us about the eye works in this sphere. And we also want to know how ones can connect with the eyes as well. But talk to us about how the eyes evolve the yoga practice. Because you say you don't just do yoga anymore. You have evolved it into a unique practice. Talk about that.
Yes, so the more I started to grow closer to His Majesty and to Christ and to the scriptures, I realized as I studied yoga and I realized that when you do yoga or you do any type of ritual, you're opening your mind, you're opening different portals to your God body, right? And depending on what you open to, different spirits and different energies can follow through. And so when I would study the ancient yogis, they would say that they, as they're meditating, as they're doing their movements, they focus their energy on their Lord. And so I started to make a practice where I focus my energy on the Lord of Lords, the Lord of their lords, the God of all gods and the creator. So as I am doing these movements, I am not just simply trying to make my mind blank. Some people have a meditation that they hold to people. They say that, you know, make your mind blank. I would not recommend to that, you know. The scriptures say that we must meditate upon the word day and night. And when you make your mind blank, you allow another penmanship to come and write whatever they may write in your soul. So you must be very mindful. You know, sometimes people laugh when you believe that yoga could be demonic, because the people who are in yoga, they look very zen. But you have to realize Satan does not come and with horns and tries to portray a bad light. He disguises himself as an angel of light, and he disguises himself to all of the things that you may want in this life. As Christ went on the mountaintop, he tried to tempt Christ to give him all of the land and give him all this power and dominion. And so this is what sometimes happens when we're doing these different rituals we're partaking of. We have to realize that in these rituals, we have to be mindful of the state of mind that we're in. We must focus our, as they call it, your third eye, your inward. His Majesty calls it the inward eye. And if you do not focus that inward eye, as I said before, you could let all type of energies in, and then when you come back out of the energy, you're not who you were when you left and when you first started the meditation. Not in a positive manner. You become more dull, more passive, more like you almost become the walking dead. Isn't that fire? Enough times people think because people are walking around looking like they're in a zenful state that they're actually beneficial. No, they're zombified sometimes. Isn't that fire? Because they lose some of their soulful nature and their passion and their fire and their rhythm and their humanity. And one thing I want to say as well that's very important, that I feel that is in the heart. Sometimes when we start to become more spiritual, we start to denounce our humanity. We start to say, you know, this flesh is nothing. No, man, that's crazy. Like, why would your soul choose to come in this physical? Because there's things that the soul cannot do without the physical mass. There's things that the soul is unable to experience. This is a very, you see this body, they said that mass has never been duplicated or recreated since the beginning of creation. So that means that all mass that is on creation has been recycled over time. So my flesh itself is anciency. You know, this is an ancient physics. You see, I am not just made from my mother and my father. They're just two links. I am made from so many cells that have been passed down through generations of generations of generations. This physical should not just be looked upon as merely nothing, but it shall not be praised, but it shall not be discarded because you're so-called spiritual now. You know, give thanks for it.
The scientists say that our atoms were born in stars, that, celestial
Stardust, yes.
particles, exactly. So, when you talk about ancient, you're talking about billions of years of anciency within I and I. And this is why we say the divinity, because everyone is literally coming from a sun, from a star. And this was, the Nile Valley civilization, the anciency. These were the mystery schools, would teach these things. And these were the things that His Majesty now brought to the people. The same teaching that Yeshua brought to the people, this ancient knowledge that was guarded by a few onto the many, because we cannot have an Edenic state if there are weak links in the chain. Everyone have to know. That's why we say everyone should know. And that's why His Majesty come as a minister of education. This is very symbolic, of all of the portfolios that He reserved for Himself. The Ministry of Education is to show that until the people know themselves, and remember that He took time to translate the Bible from Ge'ez to Amharic. You know what I mean? That was His plan, was to release that right after His coronation, but then the Italians invaded and it wasn't able to be completed until after the war, where He was able to bring in the new Bibles and to complete the revision. That was part of the work He was doing in England and in exile. So when people burn the Bible and these things, and you see His Majesty put so much time and effort into the translation of the Bible, and the original Ethiopian Bible, which have the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Light, all of these ancient books that are not a part of the Western Christianity. When you see His Majesty take the time to have these translated from the ancient language to Amharic, it shows us that this is something that's important for I and I to glean the lessons that are in this book of wisdom. And His Majesty said we have to seek secular knowledge as well.
Yes,
read all of these things, so it's not to limit I and I self to just the Bible, but the Bible is giving us a tradition and a levity and a story and a narrative, that leads us to the only unconquered African landmass, in the history. So it's very, very serious. I see a little thing going in the chat with two Bubble Brethren in the chat. I want to say Lion Pride, this is about love, Ras child up, you burn the fire, but we want to keep it loving. And I see I say constructive, so we want to keep it constructive. You know what I mean? Ras child, you feel like there's no sister in Bahamas, brethren say, you know what I mean? Him don't see that. But we want the item just hold a joy in the chat, keep the reasoning respectful, and make we chat up. So in terms of does the I teach classes for the I?
Yes, sir.
Yoga?
I do retreats in Jamaica. Where the house where my family has in Portland is a beautiful location right over the ocean. I normally do retreats. For the last few, I haven't been doing because of my knee injury, but I am almost at like a 100 state, so I will be doing guided meditations via Zoom, via the phone. I do counseling sessions, guided meditations, and I do retreats in Jamaica. I'm gonna plan one for in the next 3 months or so. And but I wanted to, what I was saying made I look into this word sound right here that I brought up of His Majesty. His Majesty, when He speaks of the scriptures, he says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor, that are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." His Majesty says, who can resist? an invitation to so full of compassion. And he says, because of this personal experience in the goodness of the Bible, I was resolved that all my countrymen should also share its great blessing, and that by reading the Bible, they should find truth for themselves. Therefore, I cause a new translation to be made from our ancient language into the language which the old and the young can understand and speak. You know, I'm going to continue, but I wanted to say something that's very important. Before His Majesty, the majority of the people in Ethiopia that went to church did not understand what the people were saying, because only the royal and the priestly part of the people, like the priest and the royal families, only spoke Ge'ez. Ge'ez was not a common language that everyone spoke. This was a churchical language that only was speaken in church, really, right? So imagine, sometimes you go to somewhere and it may be Ethiopians singing Ethiopian psalms, and you feel inadequate in a sense, like, damn, you know, I shouldn't partake of this because I don't know what they're saying. But for thousands of years before His Majesty came on the scene, no one in the majority of the people in the audience listening to the priest speak didn't know what they were saying. So His Majesty wanted everyone to be able to, he says, find the truth for themselves. And so He made something that everyone could partake of so that they could have a personal. So His Majesty gave the Ethiopian people the opportunity to have a personal relationship with the Almighty, not through secular people, not through going to the priest and being translated towards something. He allowed you to have something in-depthful, impactful, and personal. And then he continues, he says, today man sees, today man sees all his hopes and aspirations crumbling before him. He is perplexed and knows not whether he is drifting. But he must realize that the Bible is his refuge and the rallying point for all of humanity. In it, man will find the solutions of his present difficulties and guidance for his future actions. And unless he accepts with a clear conscience the Bible and its great message, he cannot hope for salvation. For my part, I glory in it. His Majesty just tell you, say, yo, Rastaman, you say you call yourself by my name, there is no salvation in your future, in your soulful spiritual nature, if you do not accept and embrace the scripture. You know what I mean? So you could disagree with His Majesty. I'm not saying that everyone has to agree with His Majesty's view, but it's like this, fire. You know, when people practice Kung Fu, martial arts, everyone could know who your master is by the specific style that you use. When you are a gang member, you throw up different signs and you wear different colors and you move in different protocols. And people could say, yo, that's a Crip. Yo, that's a Blood. When you call yourself by the name of another man and then you live opposite of that man, it's like a Crip wearing a red flag. It's like a Kung Fu master not showing the discipline of his master. So it's very confusive. And I believe that, honestly, we're talking about mental illness. I believe that it is some type of mental trauma that has occurred to our people because the Europeans utilized the scriptures against us to enslave us, and they twisted the meanings of certain things so that they could have dominion and power over us and our ancestors. So deep down inside, we have a certain type of trauma towards that. We do not hate religion as a whole, because people in the conscious community say that they burn out religion, but they don't burn out religion. They only burn out Christianity because they embrace Buddhism, they embrace Hinduism, they embrace all of these other Eastern philosophies.
Yoruba, you know, priestess,
all of those things,
Ashanti priestess, Kemetic.
Even Kemetic science. Kemetic science is a religion.
Yes, sir.
Even,
Ma'at. I
sat with the brethren that wrote the Kemetic yoga book. I forgot his name now, but he straight up and told me, like, this is a religion. Even atheism is a form of religion.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So everyone has a religion. We just are preference to what religion we want to partake of, and it's okay. Everyone has their choice. But what I'm simply saying is that specifically to the Rastafari community, you know, that you must look yourself in the mirror and realize that if you call yourself by the name of Kedamoy Haile Selassie and then you live opposite to him, you're a living contradiction. You know, you're lying to yourself if you believe that you and him would ever get along, because his title is the defender of the faith. So it is the reason, and I'm not trying to overemphasize this aspect, but it's so simple to me. It's like I just won't, I would just stop calling myself Rastafari. I'll just be Semaj. Instead of the Ras, I'll just be Semaj. And I'll still do my thing, you know what I mean? But I just won't have the power and energy of His Majesty, you know? So, yeah, man, Rastafari. Clarity of mind is the key to mental health, you know? Like I said before earlier in the conversation, in the reasoning, if we do not have clarity of conscience, clarity of mind, if we are consistently lying to ourselves and to our brothers and sisters, if you are in a relationship and you have to hide your phone from your significant other, that's a lot of trauma, and you're taking away years out of your life. Think about the fact that if you go to the store and you leave your phone on the dresser at home, once you realize you leave your phone,
And it's a good sound because my queen know all of my password enough time me forget them too.
Fire.
You know what I mean?
My ex knew if right now she wanna destroy every she know my debit card number, and listen, there are times where if she's leaving the house and her phone is dead, I want to be able to say, yo, Bibbs, your phone dead? Yo, take my phone and I'll charge yours. But I'm not saying it to try to build myself up as this perfect person, but I'm trying to say that if we're dealing with health, the trauma that we put onto ourselves from trying to live a double life. If you want more than one woman, you have to tell your woman, I want a polygamous relationship. Just be honest. Just come straight. You know what I'm saying? Because you see me, I'm not pro or negative against polygamy. I believe that if you meet a woman and she is naturally open to that aspect of living, then all righteous deeds are done in public, can be done in private, and private done in public. So be real. But if you meet a woman and you have to convince her to be a polygamist, you are becoming a cult-like leader. You're creating a cult that is not right. Because what you do is you use the love that the woman has for you as leverage so that you can bait her into doing what you want her to do. You see what I said? So
serious. And I'll tell you as a big brother that polygamy is a rich man occupation. Don't bother try it, because them are going to disrespect you, brethren. You don't have no money and you try to manage two women. Them are going to disrespect you and it's not going to work. I've seen it, many Rasses. I've seen try the polygamy and it don't work. If you have the wealth and, you can even have two different houses, because woman living in the same house in this modern era is very ambitious. You have to have different settings and gates.
And not even just the money. Some men don't have the mental capacity or the patience that's needed, because, the woman's emotions. I remember when I was praying about this a while back, I was like, asking the Almighty whether I should go pro into the polygamous thing. And the Almighty said to I, the woman that you love will let you know the direction you will go. So when I met the Empress and she was not having it when it came to the because I brought it forward as a conversation, you know what I mean? Because, I'm open to it. I see it as constructive. It has its benefits and things of that nature. But when she expressed that she was not for it, I was like, oh, it's gone. It's thrown out the window. And it was never a thought like, oh, eventually I pray that she changes her mind. No, fire, because you will ruin yourself. You will try to force. You can't force the situation.
As you say, with the mental health, to manage one sister is a full commitment by itself. Then to bring on a next sister, most men don't have that bandwidth. And then also if you deal with your purpose, because you can't just have the woman them there, spend time with them, invest. They're like flowers in the garden. You have to water them so they can grow, you know what I mean? So you really have to put that love and commitment, even I know my queen almost 30 years coming up. I met my queen in 1996. We've been chatting and, we, had a period of separation, but we're still learning each other up to now.
Yes, sir.
Just getting at the sweet part of the chat right now.
Yes, sir.
But it takes time, it takes patience, it takes ups and downs. Sometimes you go through periods where you not agree, and you know what I mean, you have to rally and come forward. So it's not something that's simple.
Yes, sir.
That being said, if you're wealthy and you have the resources and your queen is up for it and you want to go into polygamy, there are more women than men. I think that it is going to be part of the solution, because we're going to have sisters that can't get a king man because there's so few king man out there. So some of them, but that's a select few. And if you're a brethren and you want to do that, get your economics together, brethren, make that motivate you for get that, and to find a queen who is open to that, because most of the queens I'm reasoning with, say that they're open to polygamy. If you look at Lion Love, most of them say that they're open to it, but there are certain standards that have to be set. And for Rastafari, particularly because His Majesty show us monogamy with Empress Menen, there have to be some extraordinary situation for you to go outside of that model. There have to be a justification to go outside of that.
The balance that I cited, with that is that, His Majesty allowed it. When he wrote the laws of Ethiopia, he allowed it to be. But the example that he showed was a man that had one empress. So I would say to the brethren, do not aim. I humbly say this: if every king could run their kingdom as they see fit, right? But I would say humbly, do not have a mindset that you're hunting down women to bring into this kingdom. Allow that one woman that nurtures you, that loves you, and you love them back in a genuine divine nature, to be the catalyst that may push you in a direction. You see, His Majesty said that Empress Menen was his most trusted confidant.
Yes, I
know. When he left to go speak to the League of Nations, it was said that it was Empress Menen that, spoke on behalf of the royal council to get him to be the one that spoke on Ethiopians' behalf. So if you have a woman, I learned this even more in our past relationship. In the past relationship I've had, I've been able to watch myself and say, yo, Bridget, even though you are the head, in that moment, you could have humbled thyself. And so even though, in the scriptures and in reality, the man is the head of the household, he is the king man, we must also realize that the intuitive nature and the intuition of a woman can see things sometimes, or feel things sometimes, that we cannot feel in such an impactful way. So only be with a woman that you truly trust. You trust her enough to say, like, if y'all both leave out and the woman say, yo, Fire, King, I don't feel like you should go here today. And if she says it with a sincere, genuine spirit, yo, sit home, Fire. You know what I mean?
I do that all the time, King, and even to strengthen that sound, a king and a leader has to know when to delegate. If there's an area that my queen have more knowledge, I'm going to defer to Iman Queen. That is wisdom. Not because you're the head and you can make the final decision and have the final say. That means that you lean on your own overstanding. There are areas where my queen is much more knowledgeable. She's taken the time to do the research. I haven't had the time. I'm going to defer to her guidance in that particular area. That doesn't mean I'm any less of the head. It's serious. Kimberly Daly said Abba had one wife. When you talk about polygamy, that's when the daughter them start talking.
Yes, sir. No, naturally, and I always uphold that. That's why I say to the brethren who are open to it, that if you find, don't look for multiple women. You know what I mean? Because what you're doing, you're cutting, you're actually thinning yourself out too much. You're spreading yourself too thin, and then. This is why a lot of the greatest empires fell, because they wanted to take over so much different land.
Time consumption. Women are time consuming, even in the best of situation. That's why we born the side chick, because this take the time to maintain any relationship. You're diverting the time that you could be spending with your children, with your wife, with building your foundation, your business, your entrepreneurship. All of them things that you could be putting time and investing time in that you're spending with that side chick. better you go talk to your woman, because some of the woman them too have to be more intimate with their man. Sometimes them are ration the love, and the man them lonely. So you have to balance the thing. As a sister, make your king man happy.
And Fire, I want to say that
Yeah.
not just right now, but it's more blatant. It is man and woman. Woman, like I was watching some study that these psychologists did, and they did it in different universities in America, and it shows that woman actually cheat more than man, but they're just so more discreet and strategic with what they do and how
Yes,
they
it's
do it.
true.
They
I
will
believe that.
always, and then they will blame the man for their cheating. They will say, said the only reason I cheated is because I felt like this, or I felt their justifications for things, or lack of accountability for things can lead them to look like the victim more times. But sometimes and not saying that men do it too, but I just wanted to show an equilibrium. And
No, I believe it, because when I was in my gala stage, I dealt with a lot of women that had boyfriend and these things. So we know them things that happen in reality. And that's why you shouldn't be, in the proverbial streets, especially right now, because the streets them so dirty.
yes,
Find a righteous woman,
and just
and build a foundation. And in this Armageddon, when COVID happened, I was so happy because I had my queen, so we were going through this thing together. You know what I mean?
Yo, Rasta, it made me laugh because some of the bridges down the street, it was going crazy because that's why domestic violence skyrocket, because enough of the people them never like each other, but them work one work for 10 hours, one work for 8 hours, so them only spend like 3-4 hours together, but then they had to be home together all the time, and then realize I don't really like this man, I don't really like this woman, and then they could not go to their side piece for the release and the euphoric enjoyment that they, because someone bridging them down the street, them say, I treat my woman better after I go see my side chick.
No, we're laughing, but because we overstand that mentality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I said, we lived it as a young man.
It's a quick fix effect.
And it's not productive
it's not healthy at all. It's not beneficial,
No, and we have to, as brethren who are the adults in the movement right now, we have to set the standard. Our generation is tasked with setting a standard that the young people can follow. So I just want to give thanks to the eye. We've gone past 2 hours already. We give thanks for the eye coming on the platform. I want the eye just block once again how the ones them can reach the eye, how they can connect with your movement. This brethren has a massive platform on IG, Rastafari Liberty. Make sure you go over there, follow it right now. Make sure you subscribe to this platform as well. Let me see where we are. We had 2,104. So we had people subscribe. Give thanks to all of our new members of the Lion Pride. We're building a movement. We have an episode of Lion Love dropping shortly. We have so much content, exclusive interviews coming. We went to Rastafari Indigenous Village in Montego Bay. Got the full tour. We're going to be publishing that. We still have St. Croix interviews from St. Croix Church that we're going to be publishing. We have an exclusive interview with DJ Cool Herc that's coming on the platform. We interviewed Danny Dread, King of these Volcano Sound System, that's coming on the platform. People, we're just getting started on this platform. Trust I. The network is not normal. The network is not normal. So we're going to continue to bring frontline soldiers in Rastafari to the platform. We're going to continue to have the hard conversations that we're not having as Rastafari family. We are going to rebuild the Rastafari family here. We're going to show the repatriation here. All of the positive things that are happening in Rastafari, we are going to highlight them here on the Lion Voice Network. Final words, my brother, how they can reach the eye, how they can connect with the eye.
Yes, so before I just say that, I want to say something that was in my heart,
Yes.
I believe that all of us, Rastafari man, Rastafari woman, bald head, whatever, I believe that we should really, really, really look into ourselves. If we have past relationships that did not work out, instead of just looking at what the man did or what the woman did, we need to reflect upon ourselves. there were things in my past relationship that I know that I could analyze to myself and say, yo, say, the next time the Almighty bless I with a great queen as he blessed I before, I will make sure that I am a greater version of myself. Instead of just looking at yourself as a victim, look yourself as a student within a classroom environment. And that past experience was just an opportunity to help you. It may be hurtful, it may bring past trauma, feelings and emotions, which is very deep, but we must look into ourselves, as His Majesty says, we must look into ourselves, into the depths of our souls. We must become something we have never been, for which our education, experience, and environment have ill prepared us. We must become bigger than we have been, greater in spirit, larger in outlook. We must become members of a new race. So that's what I would love for myself and for the rest of the IDEM to strive to not be a victim, take on the accountability of life so that we can grow into a better place. And so yes, as far as reaching I am now stepping back forward. I've healed up. And so ones and ones could reach I on the Instagram, on our direct message. You could leave, email at rastalivity10@gmail. And, what I plan to do for the future is to do more classes collectively. I do individual courses, individual classes, guided meditations, do yoga, breathing exercises. And I do this via the phone, via WhatsApp, via Zoom. And so, I am a servant for humanity, and I want to implement the counseling aspect. For sometimes we're so caught up in this spiritual world. We're so spiritual. But if the mental aspect is not at a certain balance, we will let all type of diverse spirits in. The mind is the gateway. It is the bridge that allows things to enter or exit. And if we do not have a great mental, that means that we must study behavioral patterns. We must introspect and look into ourselves and really analyze ourselves. And His Majesty says that we must be critical of our works and the works of our brothers and sisters, but he says in a way that is constructive. So don't beat yourself up and try to demoralize yourself, but encourage yourself and to take accountability of all actions that has been done so that the things in the future do not repeat the same cycle that has been. So, I give thanks to this brethren. I want to give this brethren his flowers, he has encouraged me because sometimes I could be very stagnant in the things that I do or don't do. And I see this brethren, to be able to put together something like this, Fire, it takes a lot of discipline, Fire, a lot of research, a lot of introspection, and this is not just one thing. He has many volumes that's going to come out. This is volume 1 of many more to come. He started before His Majesty was even in the physical, and like while he was here, and it's so he hasn't even. I think in this book you didn't even go past His Majesty's childhood.
No, we just went up to the baptism.
That's it. That's 40 days on the earth.
So the next volume is gonna be up until His Majesty was crowned the Chasmach. So it will be from 1893 to 1906 for volume 2. Then the next volume will be from the Chasmach to Ras, and then the next volume will be from Ras to Negos. The next volume will be from Negos to Nugusa Nagas. Next volume will be from Nugusa Nagas up until.
How long it took me to learn some of the stuff that's in this book? And this is like a cheat code. He's literally got a cheat code, my life. How many Google searches, how many different books. He took so many points, high points from different books and different things and compacted it within this book. And this is not even the end. I haven't even got all the way to the end because you know what I do? I reread and reread and reread. You see this book? I've so much. You see this book, All the Stain of Herbs. This is my favorite ganja book. the book, I'm so like you can't scrape off a spliff right now.
That made I day. And go to the website, the Chasmach Kwasi, support the book. And if you want to expedite volume 2, join the Patreon because we need funding to help us. I want to go to Ethiopia and research in Ethiopia and really, because by the time I end this, I want to learn, Amharic and Ge'ez so that I can really write in depth. This is part of my life work. So even that volume I'll do a second edition in time, and you know what I mean. Once I finish the whole works, then I'm gonna go forward and update the editions, you know, because by that time I would know Amharic and Ge'ez and you know be able to really research, because a lot of those works I had to read in English, but there's a lot of works that are in Amharic that you know what I mean, and more works coming out. There's a history of Ras McCunnin in Amharic I heard about. Ras Emaru have his autobiography that's written in Amharic. There are certain works that I want access to really flush out the story properly. So if you want to see volume 2 quickly, go in the Patreon, $5, $10, $25. Support the platform, and I want to do an animated film of that of this series too, you know. Like Into the Spider-Verse, you know, I love animation, but I want to see our African history in animation, because you know I go watch these films with my youth them, and I say, imagine we had our history in this format and so compelling, and the story and live action too, films and different creative works of our history, I think is so crucial. Because right now we're looking at Rome and Greece and their concepts of entertainment and the creative industry. So Africa has to have our own narrative, our own story. So I want to just thank everyone who has subscribed to the platform. You are part of history. You are watching the slow uprising of the Lion Voice Network. We are not going to stop. We're going to continue to bring people like Ras Semaj and others who are doing the work. And I want to encourage the eye to write books, to do videos, record your courses, strive and full up in your purpose, because the eye is great. And just reasoning with the eye and the insights, I feel like a student learning from the eye, you know, same way that the eye learning from I. So we really just, you know, each one teach one, iron strengthen iron. And I want to just big up all of the sistren who came forward tonight. We had a good amount. Fiona, Sister Fiona, big up yourself. Love the input. Sister Kimberly, Menin Tafari, Empress Jeannie. We had a nice contingent of sistren. My channel is mostly brethren. So Queen Mother Moses. We had a good amount of sistren that tune in this evening, and I know more will watch. I want more sistren subscribe, and there's no platform on YouTube that have more Rastafari sister voices than Lion Voice. I dare the item to find it. I'm sure. Dare the item. We have more sistren coming. So we give thanks. Final word, Son King.
Yes, I. So more love and light. May the Most High guide and protect I and I. May the Most High redeem I and I spirit. May I and I be renewed, reborn, so I and I can live up in I purpose and play that intricate puzzle piece that the Almighty has created I to be. May I and I walk in our purpose. May I and I be inspired by another that is greater than I. No jealousy, no envy, just inspiration to strive to a higher heights. Not to be like the other, just to be the greatest version of oneself. Amen. Yes.
You heard it from Ras Semaj, Rastafari, Liberty on IG. We are going to continue to promote this platform. Why? Because the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion Voice. Really.
Rastafari.
Yo, this is Perilous and time have come. The Lion tell them own story. This is the Lion's Voice. Stay tuned.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice.
Well, Haile Selassie the First, the Almighty, and he was crowned with Empress Menen. And you see there come a time in every relationship in it brand new and your heart is full of doubt. And you try investigate to check things out. And sometimes you see if you follow word of mouth, you end up take the wrong route. Well, it's a mystery, what a mystery, and I can't see. But will she miss me?
she trick me? Or is it just me? Well, it's a mystery, what a mystery, and I can't see. Well, will she diss me? Or will she be the wife and mother of my baby? Sometimes I feel like she's holding back. Something inside says it don't react. Sometimes I hear how the people chat. Most of the time we ignore all of that. The way she read books made my soul relax. Love how she look and she proud to be black. Me love how she cook and how she state the fact. She said the wicked are female like wax. Well, it's a mystery, what a mystery, and I can't see. Well, will she diss me? Will she trick me? Or is it just me? Then, well, it's a mystery. Well, front to us a son was born and a child was given.
I want to ask you a question. Have you got your book? Haile Selassie's Ethiopia Volume 1, The Rise of the Priest Warrior King. I've read the book in its entirety, and I must say it's very inspirational, very informative, and very historical, right?
Them call him Rastafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Them call him Rastafari. When he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Rastafari. The lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Them call him Rastafari. Read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England